Why are you so strongly vegetarian?
Because if you eat animals, it's cruel. And if you like to get eaten, and why should you eat animals then? This is not you.
Okay.
It's not fair for the animals then.
And do you tell your friends this? And
Yeah.
listen, your friends are vegetarian. But you can also get healthy food for other foods, can't you?
Yes, like fruit and vegetables.
Because another thing that is also in geological records, and that's a big electromagnetic storm from the sun, yeah, and the last one happened about 150 years ago, before there's all the electricity that we've got now. Electricity suck-up generators, power stations on big pieces of kit, they'll all get wiped out. All computers without military shielding will get wiped out, everything will get wiped out. So you won't be able to draw money, use the telephone, plug petrol, everything. That's one scenario. So there's a whole variety, and I'm looking forward to it because I think capitalism is a wrong system. And as soon as we get back to growing things and hanging out the nature and playing music, so much better, stop chasing money.
And they've set up a state in exile. And one of their philosophies has been to recycle everything. Okay, so they have quite a lot to teach us about recycling, just to strengthen their artistic voices and also develop projects with them where they can earn income from what they produce.
I think I want to send a message to the West, not the Africans.
Okay.
Africa don't produce that much pollution, but the West is producing a lot of pollution, and that's affecting the most vulnerable, the most poor people in the planet. So West has to be responsible individually as well as the government-wise or organizational-wise, because that's affecting other people's life. People who don't produce any pollution at all, but they are suffering because of our pollution in the West.
Very simple technology that anybody can do as individual, as family, as a community. Collect these plastic bottles and using hot sand and just some techniques of stripping these bottles into pieces, making beautiful jewelry and other objects. And this is fantastic. I mean, the refugees have been very excited about this because there was a design student in London who came up with this idea and went to them and said, listen, we can do something really special, clean up the environment, give you something to do, and everyone can participate, and you have the possibility of expressing your creativity, your identity, your culture, and earn some income from it. So that's, I think, there's a lot of wonderful, simple ideas out there in the world that we can tap into to improve our environment and our community values and our consciousness. And so we're trying to contribute in our small way to do that. Please visit www.sandblast-arts.org.
Global warming to me is a terrible thing. You look at what's happening now, all of this fuss about BP in the Gulf of Mexico. Everybody terribly worried because there's a small amount of environmental damage being done by that one oil well which is exploding or went up. But nobody's looking, or people are looking, but when it's a disaster localized, people look at it very quickly and get very excited. But when it's every day somebody getting into their car, driving around, putting CO2 into the air, and then warming up the world, people tend to those sort of things, they just let go very slowly, they don't get worried. So there's a lot of hypocrisy in a way on this. I personally think that the global warming is potentially a catastrophe for the world, and it needs very decided sacrifices on the part of everybody to make it work. It's not just two of the things to say stop cutting down a bit of a jungle in Brazil or something like that. Everybody's going to have to start using less energy.
Right, so like subject of technology, I would stop people flying aeroplanes, I would use sailing boats again.
Well, I recycle things, and like I recycle everything that I can actually, like all the glass and the wood and the bottles and plastic and everything, But I mean, the thing is, I use petrol, because I ride a motorcycle that uses petrol, I suppose it's not as bad as a car. But it's very difficult, isn't it? Because you want to try and do that, but at the same time, obviously, because you have to, I heat my house in the winter. Not very much, but I do, so that is, everything you do will produce some kind of pollution.
Except that we use other sorts of energy, like nuclear energy, which we know has got risks. Probably the risks to the world are less with things like nuclear energy, which is actually very clean as long as you don't get radioactivity going into the environment. It's much cleaner than using coal or gas or any of these other things. And you look at things like wind, tidal energy and all of these other ones. And basically, you say, can we provide enough energy for what people require in terms of energy to live, if they say, decently nowadays? It becomes almost impossible to think that wind energy, tidal energy, these other things would work. Hydroelectric, of course, has got tremendous potential in many parts of the world, and then people worry because people are displaced.
I work in India in a school in South India, and one of the things we've done is we've started an organic garden. It's a permaculture garden with raised beds. We've made all the soil ourselves with very poor quality soil and layers of leaves.
Okay.
It's like a lasagna, 12 layers of leaves, 12
Fantastic.
layers of soil. And the children made this by themselves.
Wow. Okay.
Just to show it can be done. And they've grown tomatoes, chilies, pumpkins, squashes, all kinds of fruits and vegetables, spinach, garlic, all kinds of things.
And I cycle, that's one thing as well, short distances. If, anywhere I can go on a push bike, I do it. And I generally try to kind of not waste things, so I think that is probably what I do, green-wise.
It's about going back to basics, people starting to grow their food and to exchange food on a barter system, so living in a more close to nature lifestyle where people talk to each other, they grow their food and they eat it straight away, so it doesn't have to cross continents.
I want you to think about not just about the taste of the food itself, but think about the workers who produce your food. These people we shouldn't be having so much from other lands because of the carbon footprint, that the transport costs. But we should be thinking about the effect on those people, on their families, and people will never know who are suffering all the time.
I started only using pool wash.
An aeroplane going across there, maybe people travel by ship instead of getting in one of those aeroplanes and going off.